Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. This is what is the top 10 biggest economic strength countries disappeared. So firstly, in America, we have the US and Brazil disappearing. Over in Europe, we have France, Germany and the UK disappearing alongside Russia, which is mostly Asian. In Asia, we have India and China disappearing. I swear there's another one somewhere. I'm missing two countries. Definitely deleted them. Oh yeah, Japan is one of them. And there's another country disappeared here. I just missed it. Anyway, firstly, the international community will probably be very. Oh, it's Italy. Will be very unstable for a while they figure out why the ocean just took over all of the very strong economic countries. But then the first war will occur in Korea. As China isn't defending North Korea anymore, I don't know why I picked that one, that's the wrong one. South Korea declares war on North Korea. There. Of course I forgot to resize this. With the surprise attack happening, and I didn't mean to do that. With it being sort of a surprise attack, South Korea does do very well for the first few weeks, as many North Koreans accept the South Korean occupation, as South Koreans start to hand out food. However, when they get to this point, the North Korean army is fully sorted, and not as stable as it was when China disappeared, and they start pushing back like this, eventually reaching up to that point where another country will join. Would help fit the right colour. That country being Taiwan, no, wrong side, and the Philippines, which are not the colour all the way in, but yeah. That they all want North Korea dead, and South Korea starts to get a lot of international aid, as quite a lot of countries agree with this. This then helps South Korea to invade more. In fact, starting a naval landing up here and down here, eventually leading to North Korea starting to become very unstable, and eventually the Kim gets mysteriously killed. Anyway, I'm going to do a peace treaty, which is just going to be full annexation, as the Korean island is unified again. We have some more wars going on, such as in Georgia, where these two regions here still are occupied by Russian troops that somehow escaped the disappearing of Russia, get invaded, and they stood no chance, to be honest. The only reason they survive nowadays is because of Russia. And yet again, it is full annexation. As for now, it's kind of just countries reclaiming territories which were stolen from them. The first war where this isn't the case, though, is in Eastern Europe, where it would help if I got the right colours, where Ukraine, Poland, Lithuania all declare war on Belarus. And Transnistria will exist, I guess, as no one really minds. A joint Polish and Ukrainian invasion starts in the west. A Lithuanian invasion starts in the north, as they focus towards the capital city, and Ukraine also takes this major city here. They all start to spearhead planning to encircle all of the Belarusian troops, as Lithuania is the first one to start a siege. However, they fail and their army gets kicked majorly back, as Belarus focuses on their front as they were the closest, I guess. Next, going to Poland, where they do manage to kick them back a bit. However, doing that, they lose many troops, and leaves space for Ukraine to then start to rapidly expand into Belarus, encircling a massive amount of troops here, which all surrender, and eventually taking the Belarusian capital in an encirclement and taking it. This leads to Belarus collapsing, and then just being made into a free state and not a dictatorship. I want to turn off the major cities and capitals because they look so weird. But next up, we have a new currency. Oh, the new major currency taking over, which is the euro, as it is the only major currency that hasn't been bombed. As China does not exist, which means the yuan's gone. US is gone, meaning dollars, well, probably still used, but it has no backing anymore. And India's gone, so their currency is also gone alongside them. And no one wants to use Russian currency anyway, as they're pretty internationally isolated at this point. And they're also gone. Which leads to the euro, which is still pretty unstable due to France and Germany, two of the major countries that are using it, disappearing, but I guess this adds. Anyway, the Middle East. I think you know what's going to happen. The second Arab War begins, as they all declare war on Israel, as the US is gone, so they're not really defended as much. Israel does initially have success in especially Egypt, as they were prepared for them to attack them. They fully take over Palestine and start an offensive into Jordan, taking 3 of their major cities and their capital alongside it. They push towards the Lebanese and Syrian capitals. However, they do start to slow down, especially as all of the armies get ready, start to, what do they call it? Actually, the Israeli army starts to get weakened, especially with, if I picked the right button, especially with the capital of Lebanon and Palestine being liberated, leading to Israel's capital being taken, including their 2 major cities, as all of the countries invaded start to get invaded back. Eventually leading to Israel surrendering and full annexation by Palestine, which I'm going to quickly cut out. So anyway, after the peace treaty, which is full annexation, we have borders looking like this. So, next up on the chopping block, we have South America, where we have some major countries starting to get a little rowdy, such as Venezuela. With no American threat, they start to become a lot more aggressive and not as peaceful as they're forced to be. So they declare war on, no, not the white, not full, they declare war on Guyana to reclaim their claimed territories, which will go very well, with them starting a surprise invasion, quickly occupying most of Guyana, encircling quite a lot of their troops here, taking all of their coasts, I'm pretty much forcing them into surrendering. So I'll quickly do the peace treaty again. This is what the borders now look like, with them just taking their claims, which leads to Guyana to unifying with Suriname due to obvious reasons of them being pretty weak now and unstable. Ooh, zoom in. There we go. We also have some things happening in the Falklands. With the stronger EU powers being gone, quite a lot of Balkan countries start to think they can sort out some grudges, such as down here with Serbia declaring war on, I think that might be Kosovo, with Albania joining the side of Kosovo, with Bulgaria joining the side, leading to North Macedonia being forced onto the enemy side, with Montenegro joining the Serbian side of the clicked wrong side, Greece joining the blue team, I'm just going to call them, then the Kosovo side, and you just sort out the islands. That should be good enough. Let me just get rid of this red strip. There you go. With then Croatia joining blue side to combat Serbian expansion, to then leading Bosnia forcing Bosnia, well, going into a civil war, with then Serbian majority joining the Serbian side, with then Turkey joining to reclaim their Greek lands. This also does then force the, I've also realised that it's off camera, sorry about that, also forcing the conflict down here to continue, especially since the European Union, the UN being kind of probably collapsed at this point, and also the UK being kicked out, leaving only them two left. Very good. This might look extremely unfair for the blue team, as Turkey is very strong. So let's see what happens. Let me also get the right colours up. There we go. And we shall begin. Let me shrink it down a bit because it's probably going to be a lot smaller. With the wrong side. With Serbia starting an invasion of Kosovo, going very successfully, then pushing into Albania and a bit of Greece. However, Bulgaria does actually manage to push into Serbia and North Macedonia a bit, as most of the Greek army is also helping up there, trying to encircle troops down here. In the north, we have the Croatian troops managing to kick Serbian troops out. However, some Serbian troops do go up here, kind of making a solidified front line. Would help if I click the right side button, I mean. With then Turkey starting an invasion, pushing into Bulgaria and Greece. Also Cyprus is Turkish if you can't see it. The front lines start to expand in Bulgaria, especially as Turkey focuses more on them, with some Greek islands in fact being taken over, including Crete and the other major ones. Albania does eventually start to collapse, leading to Serbia taking them over somehow, probably because Greece and Bulgaria are a little bit distracted. With then Croatia managing to start to kick out the Serbs as they reach the borders and start an invasion of Montenegro, not managing to push into northern Serbia. Greece does manage to, Greece does manage to kick the Serbian forces out of the north of their country and defeat North Macedonia, which does mean I need this colour, as Albania does start to get liberated. However, the Turkish front does continue to get worse as they reach the Romanian coast, cutting off the Bulgarians, which does lead to some armies being diverted away from Serbia, due to them taking over the Bulgarian areas, and in fact invading into Bulgaria. It's not a good day for Bulgaria. Down in the south, we have Serbia. No, I mean up in the north, we have Serbia being taken quite a lot by Croatia. They might have some aid coming from somewhere. Yes, that is Hungary. Hungary is helping in the war. Which does lead Romania to consider joining the Serbian side. But they want to stay neutral for now, as they don't fancy losing, even though they're most likely not to. The Hungarians joining does help them, the Croatians push further into Serbia. However, the Greek Turks do eventually reach up, uniting the front line with Serbia, leading to Bulgaria pretty much being circled and taken over. The flood of Turkish troops do start to push the Croatians back, and the Hungarians, leading to them discussing surrender, as they pretty much only joined to combat the Serbians, which they pretty much have. However, they do want to stay in the war a bit more to help their ally Albania retrieve their land, which they managed to reach the Albanian border, liberating some more of the coast, before discussing full surrender. I will sort out a peace treaty, so yeah, see you after the net. Anyway, this is the borders of the Balkans now. We have some expansion up here, so Bosnia getting some coastline, Serbia kind of just annexing all of the failed nations around them, / all the nations that kind of just got collapsed, and also what they call it, Hungary, Bulgaria. How did I forget? We have Greece kind of being sent back to the island, with Turkey kind of taking all of the Aegean Islands off Greece, and also Cyprus is fully Turkish now. Albania doesn't expand where they wanted to, but they do expand into Montenegro and a bit of North Macedonia. Anyway, Moldova does later unite with Romania, leading to Transnistria being sorted by the Romanian government, as they don't really want a pro-Soviet government, area, which does leave the borders looking like this. Anyway, we have Africa's sword. With Europe being pretty much stabilised at this point with the Fourth Balkan War, third, I don't know, it might be third. With Europe being very stable at this point, with kind of every issue, other than the Balkans, which is always a problem, being sorted, we have the Middle East being pretty, not as aggressive as the US isn't here to bomb anyone, and Israel is gone. Asia's pretty stable as well, other than Myanmar, but no one sorted out for. I doubt anyone's going to sort it out now. Pakistan don't really have an Indian rival either, so yeah. In South Africa, America, in fact, Argentinian currency does take over as the major currency in the area of South America, other than Venezuela, which is trying to compete, but they only really reach Suriname and a few islands, so yeah. Other than that, we have Africa left, where a lot of things will happen. With Nigeria, for starters, not the world. With Nigeria declaring war, no, not on themselves, on these Togo and, I forgot the other one. One of them's Togo. To kind of expand the border along the Golden Coast. And they also declare war on Cambodia to kind of just extend the border down there. Because they want to become a economic power in the area, so they need more coastline to do so. To start off with, they invade the coastline of these two nations, where they quickly occupy, and I need to turn on these cities, don't I? With them pushing up to here, taking these two cities. Don't think they're major because they're dots. Not just the on the wrong layer. Yeah. Other than taking those and kind of leading to these guys collapsing or surrendering, they then turn their full attention over to Candonia, where they quickly occupy these two major cities. However, in the north, we do have some Cambodian counter-attack, with them taking this major city. However, the Nigerians have taken a lot more valuable land, so kind of not worth it to attack back. However, they do start to ace their head towards the Cambodian capital as they continue down the coast, which does lead someone else to join to get some land. That country being, what don't I got out? Being the Central African Republic, who wants a bit of coastline, and sees this as a chance to get it, with them firstly invading their full and starting to ace their head towards the Nigerian lines. With Nigeria taking over the Cambodian coast capital, it leads to Cambodia firstly fully pulling out of Nigeria as they try to go retake the capital, but also kind of starting to collapse a bit. Especially seen as the Central Africans to meet up with Nigeria, encircling them both, with both sections of Cambodia, leading them to eventually surrender, where the peace agreement is signed, which I'm going to do now. So anyway, the borders end up looking like this, with Nigeria taking the coast of these two guys and uniting the remaining parts of the countries together to ensure they don't collapse, and also the Central African Republic ending up with some coast, and Nigeria and them starting to work very close together. Nigeria also defends this island off Guinea, which they accept, as they don't really have a choice. Anyway, the last event for this video will be, I don't know actually, ooh. Oh yeah, there we go, remembered it. We have Egypt declaring war on Ethiopia, which I did the wrong colour, which Egypt does then force Sudan into, and Egypt declares war on Eritrea at the same time, which leads South Sudan to join the Ethiopian side to kind of get more land off South Africa. Not South Africa, Sudan, normal Sudan. And the Central African Republic does also join, get Nigeria to join as they do like each other. But anyway, wartime. Yes, I did do then just get that pixel. As the Ethiopians declared war on Eritrea, they will firstly go very well for Eritrea, for Ethiopia I mean, with them gaining a lot of coastline. However, everywhere else is kind of not as good, with Sudan pushing into South Sudan, taking this kind of peninsula thing, and also starting a little offensive into Ethiopia. However, the Central African Republic does manage to push a bit in. However, as Nigerian troops do start to arrive, the push does start to strengthen, and I need to turn on these two again, with them pushing towards its major city, taking it. Ethiopia does then manage to take the Eritrean capital, leading to them basically collapsing. How the Sudanese and Egyptian troops are in there, that's why. However, as Nigerian troops do start to flood throughout the entire front line, the push kind of collapses a bit, with them being majorly pushed back, and Nigeria starting to push further along all of the areas. In fact, starting spearhead, taking this nice city, and kind of just destroying Sudan. Especially seen as they start a spearhead to meet up these two spearheads, which do meet, leaving a lot of troops encircled. And then both do collapse. Well, the encirclement. As they start a spearhead to the Sudanese capital, which Egypt to this point thinks it's probably wise to focus on getting what they want, which they do. The dam, well, they blow it up, and then they just agreed to peace at that point because they basically got what they wanted, which was destroying the dam. They do basically sacrifice both of these guys. But anyway, peace treaty time. Here's the peace treaty. Oh, actually, I forgot to do this. So basically what's happened here is that Egypt's persuaded Nigeria to go with their demands somehow, with Egypt managing to get the entire of the Nile. You might be asking, how does this happen? Basically, Egypt has told Nigeria they will give them free access, or actually the Suez is international, isn't it? That Egypt will actually help Nigeria in any future expansion, and also they can form an economic pact where Nigeria is the leader. So basically, this let Nigeria get what they wanted, so they can get the entire of the canal. Originally, I was going to do the border around here, but then I realised the river, not the canal, the river follows around here. So, yeah. However, in this treaty, Egypt does basically say, we won't fight you if you take Somali. We won't fight you if you take any of the lands around you. We'll, in fact, help you, Ethiopia, if you want. As long as we get the river. They also do get some land off Sudan. So basically, everyone but Ethiopia is happy with this. Including, well, other than the Sudan, which kind of got betrayed. And Eritrea that got annexed. But anyway, that is the end of this video. I know this probably ain't realistic, the last bit, but yeah, you can't really argue. It's my video. Anyway, this is the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have, like and subscribe. If you want to see more content like this, actually, if you want to firstly see this, well, the continuation on this, tell me in the comments. Any ideas you have, tell me in the comments. And I hope you have a nice day, and goodbye.